Hello and welcome to the SC Playbook podcast, the NRL Supercoach Round 5 edition, proudly brought to you by Pat and George from Mortgage Choice SCW. I'm your host, Tim Williams, coming at you tonight with a bit of extra pep in the step. The hooves are pounding. The Cooma Stallions are on the charge up the Supercoach leaderboard. It's been a good Easter weekend all around for myself, for the Supercoach side. Here to talk through it with me today is 2021's 91st placed finisher, the SC Spy. Spy.
I'm coming for top 90, mate. The lights are pretty bright in here today, but luckily I tend to deal with that stuff. So, it's been good. Knocked out, I know you had an absolute cracker, but yeah, knocked out 1090. I was on socials over the weekend talking about having a bit of fun. Obviously, trading KP out hasn't worked out as I hoped. Abs just blitzed it. He did what I knew he was going to do about 2 weeks before I hoped he'd do it against some pretty good opposition, so fair play to him.
Could be SC Playbook's biggest post of the last 4 years in existence. You going out, so not blowing up, condolencing yourself, I suppose, about the hard luck story of going Ponga to Latrell. Mate, the people got around you.
Oh, mate, got good support here, good network. I will say, everyone's like, oh, you don't trade a gun. I'm like, it's not that. Like, you can't just do it in isolation, because it got me blokes like Pierce Paul pretty early, Paul Pierce, whatever his name is. Still don't get it right.
Paul Pierce. Shout out Boston Celtics, NBA.
Yeah, NBA legend, always gets me. And I've got 3 or 4 really good trades around that last couple of weeks.
You can trade out a gun and trade out a keeper when they've got a break-even of 200 and someone else has got a break-even of negative 50.
Yeah, I did well with the money, but yeah, ideally he also would have gone bang average and I would have been absolutely fine, but you don't get them all, do you? So yeah, I'm actually sitting in 14K, but gee, it's not far off like the top, to be honest with you. I even had a look, people in like 50K are not that far off. There's like... It's been said before, but there is not much gap. Even on the weekend, the high score was 120. There's yet to be the blowout 180 where everyone goes, oh, I didn't have him, I didn't captain him, I did. Like, it's going to happen, but it's yet to happen. It's keeping things pretty tight.
Well, our good pal, we were talking pre-show, Desi Creek, going well. I think he's around about 3,000 overall, and you're how far behind him?
100 points or 120, so there's nothing in it. So I'm pretty excited, mate. Got a bit of momentum. Even if we have a look through, like, I think you were going to ask before, like we say it at times, going well, happy with cash gen, but I thought I'd actually...
Save it for a sec.
Save it for a sec, okay.
Let someone else speak for a moment, mate. We've got plenty of time left to come on this podcast. We'll get to your team, all right?
You told me how to get in and out. Let's do this.
No, we've got time.
I'm relaxed.
So, also with us today is a bloke who is flat stick behind punching the keys. It's Matty the Waterboy, because... the Easter long weekend has thrown things out of whack a little bit. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll notice the nice wide-angle shot of Spy and myself. Basically, with the long weekend, there was no Bloke in a Bar podcast on Monday, so we did the big season recap today, which has pushed the Playbook podcast back a bit. My team's analysis on the SC Playbook website. Start of it's up there, but the full analysis will be coming tomorrow. Matty's flat stick working with bloke stuff tonight, so he's out of action. So just myself and Spy getting through it tonight. As for the Stars, I mentioned before, but 11.25 this week, so a much, much improved week. Up into the top 27K, Spy. And as I said, whenever you're referring to your Supercoach side and your rank, you can spin it whichever way you want. To be exact, I'm 26,999th overall.
Wow.
Yeah.
In the 26Ks.
Yes, into the 26Ks. So, mate, a big improvement, a big week last week. Very happy with how the side's going. And look, we often share stories of hard knocks and hard luck, but it was a timely reminder for the Stallions and for anyone else out there who's listening and chooses to listen to this, but a really good luck story for the Stallions after just a barrage of injuries to my side early on in the year. Like all of us, mate, we all caught plenty, some worse than others. Keenan Palasia, my second front row forward, with Tino out long term or for the season. He was named to start, and I thought, all right, you can plug the second front row forward spot for 1 week while I get another look at others and deal with some other trade opportunities. Palasia gets ruled out, I think it was Friday afternoon, and just went, oh dear. I'm down in front row. I'm going to need to change my trade plans. I had already used a boost, so I had to reverse my trade of Danny Levi to Appy Coruscant. Mate, Danny Levi came out and beat Appy by 23 points. Ton more cash incoming. Appy scored like 44 or something. His cash generation has been stunted a fair bit. I got Josh Curran came in as my second front row forward. Didn't get onto the second half because Max Plath got sin-binned about the time when Kerr would have been coming on in the first half, or normally would. So that impacted his minutes, but he scored a try late in the game, got through plenty of work in his time, had him.
How were you 49 minutes into that game when he was yet to set foot on the field?
I was a few bloke tins deep, mate. So
Lucky.
I handled it. I had a very enjoyable, pleasurable Easter weekend. So frustrated, but okay. The other thing about that is at the same time, I played Bostock as my fourth CT dub.
You're already happy.
And I had Hammer, who I started the season with, on a tear. So I was like, you know what? I'll take that too if it means Kerr gets 20. So yeah, it's just a reminder to any of the listeners out there that in all the bad times in Supercoach, there are good times where the luck turns around, and you've got to sit back and appreciate those times, because I sure as hell did on the weekend. Now, Spy, a good week to have this discussion, because we sit here each week and we preempt it pretty well before the start of the season. We're slow starters. We set the squad up with a bit more depth. And at 27K, still a hell of a long way to go, but heading in a better direction. And we sit here and we go, it'll come. Team's placed well. It's not just a throwaway line. And we thought we'd use your team as an example today, sitting in 14K overall, and just to go through a bit of your team and why you're happy with it and why you think you set up well moving forward. Despite a 14K rank, you go, still a bit further away. You go, that's okay at this time of year.
Yeah, and the other thing, before I go through the side, I had a little look at some of the top sides. They just have 17 good players, so they're not staying up there. So I'd love to know.
There's no genuine cash gen across the 25-man squad.
I'd love to know, Adam Derisi, if one of your boys can figure out how many sides in that top 3,000 or 5,000 actually have like 8 non-players, because that would be interesting. It might be the case if you're like Desi, or you're sitting 3,000th, you might actually be like 500th. It could be really interesting.
Ads would be in the middle of a Bulldogs board meeting at the moment. He'd have Gus Gould on one shoulder, Seraldo on the other shoulder, and I reckon he'd be tuning into our podcast in between them.
He's
saying,
gone,
boys, give me time.
Sorry, fellas. Things to do. Back to my side, though. So basically, as you said before, you can say all you want, I'm feeling good and that. And to be fair, I never lie. I'm very honest on this. Like, if I've had a shit week, you know about it. If I have a good week, I'm on momentum, you'll know about it. But I did have a good look, so I'm just feeling really positive about things. The reason why I started with Terrell May, I started with Galvin, so straight away that's 2 trades saved.
2 trades that I've literally made to my team.
Yeah, and most would have, which is fine. I started with Bostock and played him on the weekend. I brought in Hammer, you beauty. Brought in Pierce Paul on Sunday. He scored 65 in base, made 60K. Brought in Curran 2 weeks ago. He's made 100K. He's now starting. I brought in Roger tuivasa-sheck, who is being Roger, but I got him before his price rise. So it's all cash gen. And it's just means I've locked in some blokes undervalued, I think, who I can hold on to for a while now. Also got Drewy Hutchinson, which a lot of us do. He's making some good coin at the moment. I had Karaz, who's making money, turned up a week ago, still in his rolling average. We've got Strange. Robson's made me cash. So I looked through that. The 2 that have been the letdown, but not everyone's going to make you money, have been Dylan Brown. I really think's due for a breakout.
Yep.
He could stop grabbing his pocket when he's half through. And the other one was... can't remember. There's one other player I wasn't super happy with, but like overall, flying money-wise... And the challenge for me now, and anyone in that position, is what I do with that cash and cash. And like, it's all good to have the money.
You keep generating cash with trades. You start to play a bit more aggressive and go to, guns, falling guns early.
Yeah, and then like, the trade I make with that cash, they've got to be a good player. If they're not scoring points, then we waste of time. But it's a good battle, a good spot to be in, I think.
Yeah, for sure, mate. And just I won't go on about it for too long, but same sort of thing, mate. Very happy with how my side is set up. The cash generation across the board, all going very well. The 3 Dolphins I mentioned before, Hammer, Bostock, Kerr, they all went up close to $100,000 each on the weekend and have a lot more money incoming there. 2 of the concerning areas in my side in terms of cash dropping out that could have become somewhat catastrophic were Kalen Ponga and Nico Hines. They stemmed the flow.
Bang, bang.
Cash drop there. Ponga 170.
Nico was the other one.
Nico
that 94, crucial.
Nico 94. So, Ponga's ended up losing about 60K after that, terrifying start. Nico Hines dropped a bit of cash, but the 94 in there now eases a little bit of concern there. So, mate, happy with how things are going and hopefully more green on the horizon.
On a side note, completely unrelated, played sport today, put Hydrolate in here after, made sense at work. I've then swapped it for a cup of tea. It does not smell good. It is not good, but I'm going to plug away because you'll do what you need to do.
For those listening at home, don't mix hydrolyte and tea. Who saw that one coming?
I mean, I did wash it. It just didn't work.
Guys, the SC Playbook Unlimited League. I've been a little bit lazy reading this one out on the podcast this season. Apologies. I do mean to touch on it each week. But leading the pack, Why Luai Why, coached by Natalie, is in front of our Unlimited League. If you do want to jump in that, it is still open up to listeners. The code is 743596. There's $1,000 up for grabs to whoever can knock off all the SC Playbook contributors in that. Beers and break even, $6,000 up for prize money in that one. The code for that is 339640. We will close them off at some stage, so get into those groups. Currently also ranked 1 and 2 overall for leagues. I don't know how that works. I don't know if we've just got gun averages. There's about 12,000 people in beers and break evens, about 6,000 in the SC Playbook one, but look, we'll take it.
Absolutely.
Guys, the SC Playbook subscription package gets you access to numerous premium articles every week on the SC Playbook website. Gets you into our WhatsApp group. There is late mail threads, team news, head-to-head specific threads for those who play head-to-head and not overall based in their game. Punting threads, contributor-only threads. I changed my trade plans with that Palacia news on Friday. I was able to put my updated trade plans in the chat there, skippers, all that sorts of good stuff. The full unlimited group major prize. You can get the entire money for that as a subscriber if you win it. To subscribe, do so. Head to scplaybook.com.au. Head to the subscribe tab in the menu on our site. On today's show, we will be talking our topic for the show to open up how we're managing our front row forward position moving ahead with not many coaches really having a playable front row forward on their bench. It's almost going from bad to worse, particularly with injuries to key players like Tino, Payne Haas. Just not a good place at the moment. So how are we going to deal with that moving ahead? Team list Tuesday, talking points. Charnze Nicholl-Klukstad returns. A bit of a domino effect there at the Warriors. Hot topics for the week. Taylor May is the most sold player. Do we agree with this? Hot tip? I do not. We drop our round 5 trade and skipper plans, listener questions, what to do with Zach Laybart. A big one this week as well after 2 stinker weeks. But Spy, let's get stuck into it. And mate, we will start with front row forward. It's a wasteland. And the topic idea came up from a question from Dean. Apologies with the questions this week. Got caught up in the Easter festivities. Big 24 hours. Didn't get the questions out on social. So I threw to the SC Playbook WhatsApp group for the questions on today's show. Dean asked, what do you recommend as a plan to deal with Sam Hughes? Seems like he's going to be an auto-emergency nightmare all year. Would you trade him out if it meant wasting a trade on front row forward, which is a wasteland? Now, first thing about that, Spy, is that Sam Hughes will get to team this Tuesday shortly, but Sam Hughes was named to start. But for argument's sake, because we haven't seen much, certainly Supercoach quality for him this year, they do have some forwards out at the moment. He could play 20 minutes and score 13 points again. He could get moved to the bench come game day. You can't sit there just because he's been named to start this week and go, all right, our front row forward problems have been solved, because that's very ambitious. Hopefully they are, and he plays 50 minutes and kills it. But, mate, I think a lot of people out there will own, say, Terrell May, and then it'll be partnered with maybe another half-decent sort of mid-range front row forward that's ticking along okay. Another one might be Fanua Blake, who a lot went to in recent weeks as well. But a lot of people will be carrying a bench combination of Sammy Hughes, Farmasili, who's on the extended bench for the Doggies. Even if he was starting, you wouldn't want to be playing him. Liam Henry, who's on the bye next week. You add in there, he's very playable, but Fisher Harris is back for the Panthers this week. And then Xavier Willison, who was one of the most traded-in players this week as a cheapy front row forward. He's been not named for the Broncos this week. So lots of people are struggling. If there's one injury or one starting front rower on the bye or suspended, basically, Spy, what's the plan for you at front row forward? Because it's all good and well when you can get away with 2 front rowers, but if one of them goes down or something comes where you can't play them, it's not going to be easy.
My true honest answer is I've just not thought about it and prayed to God that it wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
The actual answer is probably play Sam Hughes. If it's a 1-week injury to, let's just say Terrell misses a week with a head knock, whatever it may be. Or your other bloke. I'll just use my example. I've got Cotter.
Yep.
They both don't have a bye for a while, so that's great.
Yep, hopefully okay.
But if one of them misses, I'd probably just play Hughes and hope he gets 20.
Yeah, like last 4 rounds, 13, 23, 29, 31. In that instance, you'd just cop the 25.
I'd just cop it.
Whatever.
and anything more than a week, I'd have to use a trade. So I think that's just where I stand. If you're sitting with, there's probably people who have a poor bench, a decent front row, and then another one who isn't going all that crash hot. That's when I think you might have to generate $100,000 just to upgrade that second starter and then deal with it from there. Obviously, if you're doing that, try find someone that doesn't have a buy for a while. But I mean, yeah, I think the answer to the question really is if you're semi-happy with your front row, they're doing a job, you're going to have to cop the Sam Hughes AE.
You sit and hope there for a while until something better crops up.
Obviously, if like in the case of last week, I was really keen to get Liam Henry while he's still quite cheap. He's up another $70,000 now or something. I'm not going to do that anymore.
I wanted him as well, but there were just so many pressing buys there last week.
Yeah, so if there was a Liam Henry type who you thought could make $150,000, knock out 40 to 45, then I'd be happy to grab him. 100% sit him on the bench, you beauty. One less stress, but otherwise, yeah, it's the old just don't look, pretend it's not going to happen and deal with it if it does.
Strong advice, mate. Look, I'm not too indifferent to that. So Terrell May and Josh Curran there at the moment. Terrell May is going to be going nowhere fast for the Stallions. You know, there's potential to be a season-long keeper. Josh Kerr, $420K. Look, I really do believe that the Max Plus sin binning, just as he was about to come on, impact his minutes big time on the weekend. So, look, he's got a break-even of 13, made $70K on the weekend. He also doesn't need many minutes because he comes on and goes so hard. He has attack in him. He's got tackle bust in him, offloads in him. So planning on just those two. We'll obviously have a decision to make on Josh Curran in probably 2 weeks, potentially 3 weeks when he likely peaks in price. But if you can average that sort of 40, anywhere between 40 and 50 in the meantime, hopefully more, I'll just plug him there until I really need to trade him. Same thing. If it was like a 1 week suspension or injury to either of those guys, I'd probably just have to play Sam Hughes. Name to start this week. If he does start, you can cop that. Like, it's far more promising, but I still wouldn't expect much.
They did say they'd build him in as well.
They did.
Maybe he gets himself up to that 35 mark, which is fine. You can cop that back up.
So, yeah, that's the way it is. But Josh Curran said we'll have a decision to make with him, hopefully at over $500K in a couple of weeks' time with some really good cash in the kitty for that one, whether it's to someone, a mid-ranger who looks okay, or whether it's going to a fallen gun like Joe Tarpany, like... whoever it might be.
Whoever it may be, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, even for Neil Blake, who started the season so well and he has a few tries to his name, he was like the must-have bloke. He's looking so good. He's currently averaging less than he did last year.
I still stand by the front row of now that Tino's gone, Haas is hurt. I'm very happy with looking at May and Cotter in my side. I'm like, that's beautiful. Sweet. They're not going to do anything crazy. May might, but if Cotter can just average his 55, you know what? I'll take it. That'll do. And
if at some stage, and it'll happen at some stage, I hope it does, we get somewhere anywhere from 200 to 350K who via injuries, form, whatever it might be, place themselves into a solid, 35 to 40, 45-minute role and can plug away and score 40 to 45 on your bench as a backup front row forward, sweet, we'll nip it up then.
Yep. And the other thing I'd like to do, and it just hasn't been needed yet, but I would love to downgrade Cotter. He's about 550K. If I could get someone at 400 or so to do that job of 45 points, and
happy to do it.
That would be lovely. Upgrades elsewhere. The other one would be Cotter to like a Payne Haas. If I can generate the cash once he's back, that would be nice.
The other one, Spy, and probably should have started the. It wasn't relevant to everyone because not as much for non-owners at the moment, but Josh Curran getting hopefully dual front row to
forgot about
next
that
week. I know it's just massive.
Yeah. Which means I can then flip. Anyone can flip Curran down to front row. And then ideally, in my case, I've got Cotter. I can sell Cotter on for a good back rower.
Well, the idea will be between like Jules and whatnot, being able to trade out Sammy Hughes or Farmer Silly or, whether it's Ben Trebojevic, you do it via Jules and switch like Burbo or whoever it might be down to CT Dub when a cheapie emerges. More likely to emerge in the second row or certainly at centre wing. And if we can get Curran up to front row forward, I'm hoping. So the Jules come round 6, which is obviously next week. Are we expecting those Jules to lock in?
I think it's after.
Start of the round or after the round?
I don't actually know. Just from memory, it's after.
I'm on the Supercoach podcast with official Supercoach podcast Thursday. So we'll clarify that on that one, get an answer to it. But either way, Curran, should, we think, be getting dual front row centre forward.
Sounds that way.
It's not locked in. Him getting named on the edge this week with Preston out won't help it, but
I think the crowd might win that one for us.
Yeah, the Roo's voice is pretty loud, so I reckon.
I'm enjoying his agenda push for Curran. He's just doing some fun stuff with it.
When he wants something, he gets it. Spy, moving on to team list Tuesday and the major pointers from that this week. Cameron Munster returns for the Storm. No Joe Chan again. Sean Bloor keeps his spot. Look, it's all good and well at the moment. It was a hand infection that saw him miss round 3 before the bye. I'm not so convinced that it's entirely... Could be wrong, but hand infection related, where there's a bit of form to it as well. I know he had a nice try assist for Pappy before the bye, but yeah, look, it's not ideal for that big cash generation that is incoming.
I'm going to have a look at, while you go through this, I'll see if he's playing Reggie's this week.
Check it out, because he wasn't named in the entire squad. Like, you think surely at least he's on the extended bench, but not ideal. Anyway, one to keep an eye on for now. Ben Takura, the absolute behemoth at the Brisbane Broncos, named on the bench for them this week. I saw that, I went, okay, cool. I wonder who he's come in for. Xavier Willison, out of the squad entirely. I'm sure news will come of that, but...
something happened, yeah.
Had to
something minor.
From some sort, which he was one of the most traded in players this week. And as I said, I mentioned around front row forward, bench spots, Willison, who would all of a sudden come into some half-okay minutes with Payne Haas out of the squad. So if you want to play him or buy him this week, put a line through that one. At the... Where are we at now? The Sydney Roosters. Lindsay Collins is back, which sends Terrell May to the bench. That's okay. Spy Angus Crichton, 409k, 74 break even, starting on the edge. Satili Tupanua benched. Obviously, you're not going to jump on anytime soon. In a very small sample size on the weekend, Crichton came on and ran some really good lines against the Panthers. And if in a couple of weeks' time he can return to being a 65 to 80 minute player, and it's a big if, but get back to anything near his best football, thank you very much.
Did you say Smithies to Crichton for $0?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, good. I didn't realise he was starting. I missed that. That's great news.
Yeah. At the Newcastle Knights, Jackson Hastings is in. Tyson Gamble is out. A lot going on in the Knights halves at the moment. Good for Kalen Ponga, I think, Spy, just because Hastings and Cogger, both really good at putting their fullback and key players into space.
Perfect for KP.
Love this for KP. Also at the Knights, Dylan Lucas played centre for Dane Gagai on the weekend, who was out injured. Lucas is 18th man. Gagai's back. I think this all bar locks in 80 minutes for Kai Pearce-Paul, or in the Spy's words, Kai Paul Pearce. At the Bunnies, Isaac Thompson replaces Alex Johnston. This is a bit of a shame for Jacob Gagai owners, hoping he might come in and get a bit of cash growth playing there. At the Warriors, Charnze Cookstad back at fullback. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck moves back to centre. No shock. No Tane Torpicki in the extended squad either. Regardless, I don't know if he's playing this World Cup this week following the concussion the week prior. But Spy, ramifications of Charnze back. Bad news for Torpicki, who we don't get another cash growth out of while he's playing this World Cup. Roger back to centre, we expected that. Great for Sean Johnson. Great for Dallin Watene-Zelezniak. A lot comes of this.
Massive for Sean, yes, but Zelezniak absolutely feeds off Charnze there. And for the Warriors, big for them. Like I watched it, even Roger last week, as he's so good, obviously. Tackle buster, defusal, defence, incredible footballer, but the cohesion of the Warriors all centres around Charnze. It took some time to build up. We know combinations aren't built in a day. They've got that combination with Charnze. Yep. So that right edge, let's watch it hum this week. Rocco Berry running that out inline. I cannot wait. Yep.
Very exciting. Big watch on a number of players there. Shane Dallin still averaging about 17. We don't get him at much of a discount, but that's all right. Big one there, though. Luke Metcalf out long term. Poor bugger had won that spot fair and square. He'd been brilliant for them and gone to the back end of the season. Fractured leg, I think it was, or something.
Bugger. Yep.
So Tamari Martin has beaten out Chanel Harris Tavita for the 5'8" slot. Harris Tavita was dirt cheap. I think he was like $238K or something. So
yeah, he was.
So that's a shame because he would have been a really good go there as a cheapie. Tamari Martin, $363K, dual 5'8" fullback, gets that spot. Look, he averaged 80 minutes in 6 or 7 or so games last year in a pretty good Warriors side. Not someone you'd be getting on anytime soon, but a close watch because at the price, he's very talented. He'll now be feeding Roger on the left wings, left centre, I should say.
Don't mind it.
Yeah.
At that, obviously not at this stage, but close watch. Maybe won't do enough to warrant selection in 5'8", but we'll see.
James Fisher-Harris returns for the Panthers. Liam Henry, 334k, -7, break even. I suppose my question here, Henry, who could have been a nice little upgrade option for probably not Sam Hughes now because he's starting, but like a Farmasili, or if you had a dud front row forward on your bench, whoever it might be. Is Henry still a buy at 334k or not?
Just looking at him, he actually could be. You're taking a punt that he... So the first 2 games he scored 36 and 35 in 34 and 30 minutes. And he scored 55 and 50 the last 2 weeks.
Beast.
But he only played 42 and 39 minutes. So it just depends what they do with the fish there. Kind of... What's his break even? You kind of got to do it now.
-7.
So it's either now or never. You're taking a punt. But I don't hate it because they obviously have wraps on him. If you want to get in someone who's just going to be that backup player or a starter would be bold, but backup front rower at 330, I think you could do worse.
Let's say you're going Farmasili to him. 100k.
I don't think I want to spend 100k to do it. I want that 100k elsewhere.
A week ago, you well played.
Yep.
I just think with Fisher-Harris returning, minutes to be a bit lesser.
He could easily make another 100k, but you probably won't play him ideally. And we'll get to it later when we talk trades, but I think any cash you can get together for upgrades elsewhere,
there's
pretty
better
key.
Trades. Lockie Galvin, 2-week suspension of the Galvinator, in the words of Desmond Creek. What a gun. Look, 2-week suspension, not ideal for us, but we'll deal with it. Bud Sullivan comes in at 5'8". Latu Fainu, rookie star, another halves rookie star at the Tigers, comes in. Watch on him in coming weeks, just see how he goes. But obviously with Galvin coming back in a few weeks, we'd imagine it'll probably be him and Caesar. At the Titans, Philip Sammy injured. Lofi Khan Pereira dropped. Harley Smith-Shields and Jojo Fafita come in on the wings, not overly Supercoach relevant for the time being. Zach Hosking with a concussion, a failed HIA on the weekend, is out. Ata Mariota named on the edge for the Raiders. I still would I'd almost expect to see Simi Sasagi or Big Red Corey Horse play on the edge come game day. Maybe not. Could be Mariota, but didn't completely make sense to me.
Yep.
We'll get to Hosking a little bit later in hot topics and what to do with him. Ryan Madison on the edge for the Eels. Bryce Cartwright, he's considered a week-to-week basis in terms of whether he's good to go.
Maybe not far away.
Yeah, looking at that one. Should have got this out of the way early, but yeah, did a 4-hour podcast today. Long day, so 8-hour drive yesterday from the coast. If I'm sound scat, it's because I am.
So I tried to jump in and run the show for you, and you GI'd me out of the way, so you do it, mate.
I thought I'd done all right at this point, but I could just feel the grasp of the English language falling out of me.
Slipping.
But
whenever I'm tired, I forget how to speak as well.
Yeah,
Don't
we'll
worry.
be all right, mate. Kelma Tuolangi is what I was getting at from all of that. Named on the bench, not going to be the cheapy mid-range 2RF that we were potentially hoping for when we saw that injury to Bryce Cartwright. We'll get on some other stuff now. Done with Team List Tuesday. Guys, if you've been sleeping in your parents' granny flat, you've been working your butt off all year and you're sitting on a small fortune as a result, you're finding yourself sick of waking up dusty on Super Sunday to watch the footy with the Rellos and all the distractions that come with it, you're thinking maybe it's time you dip your toe into the property market. Most people out there think there's no chance of being able to afford a property, but it's far more achievable than you actually think it is, whether it's an investment property or your own home. If you're interested in finding out a bit more, whether it's to buy now or if you're planning to buy down the track in the future sometime, reach out to Paddy and George from Mortgage Choice SCW. Usually it'll cost you $129, but because you mentioned this podcast, mention SC Playbook and it's completely free of charge, free consult. To do so, flick them a message on Instagram at patandgeorge_SCW, or you can give them a buzz on 02 9521 1611, no matter where in Australia you're based. Paddy, it was 113th last week. Thank God he's dropped about 400th or 500th overall this week. His Luke Brooks for Dalian, that's lost a bit of steam. So a huge win for all of us, Spy, ahead of Paddy's next appearance.
Could be a tough year. He's hit the wall early.
Yeah.
Can he rebound? I guess only time will tell.
Well, he captained Garrick on the weekend. I'm like, who went well. I mean, I captained Tommy Chawarich. He beat me there, so fair play.
Spy's wife did as well, and I was filthy at her.
Yeah. Spy, let's get into hot topics for this week. Looking around the most traded in and out players for Supercoach round 5. Number 1, Blaze Talangi, 204k. His basement price, negative 55 break even. He's available at CT Dub only. I would imagine if the updates come to positions, you need 3 games there.
He'll be 5'8", yeah.
But so if he gets in round 5, that'd be his second game at 5'8", and then round 6, if it comes in after round 6, he'll get the update to dual 5'8" CT Dub. If it comes in before round 6,
you get dudded.
Yeah.
But you're not dropping Galvin, so you probably want him in the centres anyway.
Yeah. True. Good point. Kai, Pierce, Paul Pierce, whatever you want to call KPP. It makes life a lot easier for the NBA/NRL fans out there.
Yeah, I do love both. It's nearly playoffs, so yeah.
441k, negative 2 break even. You bought him last week. I mentioned last week that I had some more pressing trades. Wanted to see him go around again. Look, I'm keen on him this week. The Dylan Lucas getting named at 18th man is reassuring. He's averaging, got his numbers up there, Spy?
54, but that's not in 80 minutes. So he got, I'll tell you right now.
Round 1, he played 40-odd minutes.
80-minute games, he's had 3. He went 43, 67, 65 with 0 attacking stats. So they're
coming, aren't they?
Last week he based 65. He basically scored 65 just working hard. I loved owning him. Oh,
He's just looks likely, doesn't he?
Looks like
tackle breaking. There'll be tackle bust. There'll be offloads.
You'd think he'll get better and better. 3 offloads the last 2 weeks. That could get bigger and better. Hasn't found a combination yet, but Hastings is good. It depends. I assume Hastings probably plays that sort of first receiver role, ducking to the left, because you'll find the way Newcastle play, Ponga won't really find KPP because he's more out the back, or if he's flat, he goes long. So it's probably more Hastings that could help him, but don't need it. If he's going to score 65 a week, thank you very much.
I can see KPP as he builds in confidence, builds into match. Not that he looks like he needs the match fitness because he's very athletic, fit bugger as it is, but I can see him just poking that head through and popping the offload to KP who trails.
Hope so.
Quite often. I can.
Once big KP comes back.
I'll be honest. I'm keen to get him in this week. I can see Pierce Paul. You've rattled me. You've got me thinking about it, mate.
I know.
Because 3 times before the show you said Paul Pierce. I will be buying him. I think he just looks very safe, playing 80 minutes with big base. There will be attack coming. He's in a great spot, left edge of the knives. You talk about it every week. I wouldn't be shocked if he was to revert back to the bench at any point in 2, 3, 4 weeks' time. If he has some lesser weeks, look, let's face it, the Knights aren't setting the world alight. He's been okay. He's been solid. He hasn't been anything great. They've got Lucas there who they're pretty high on.
Yep.
But on the upside of him, he has keeper potential.
Keeper potential, cheap still, low break even, defended the Warriors gun edge last week without any real dramas. Charnze wasn't there, so it does make a difference. Game before, Dylan Lucas came on the right edge. Frizzell went middle, so it's just all stacking up for him. And you know what? If something happens in a few weeks, you deal with it.
The signs are good.
I've got way less concerns than that stuff happening. Yeah.
Spy Justin Olam, 423k, negative 40 break even. He plays the Dolphins and then the Dragons. My thoughts on Justin Olam, with a negative 40 break even, you're not going to go wrong. He's going to make money. However, we also had a very similar situation with one Zed Labart a couple of weeks ago, which didn't exactly pan out for owners. We'll get to him shortly. Justin Olam has never been Supercoach relevant. And he's not been Supercoach relevant in a far better NRL team in the Melbourne Storm over the years. His last 4 season averages...
What are you trying to say about the Tigers?
That they're not the Melbourne Storm.
Yeah, fair enough.
Last 4 season averages, 41, 51, 56 and 45. In 2023 with the Storm, granted, one of his worst years in a long time. He played 15 games and he had 1 score over 54 points. 12 of them were sub 50. You're not going to go wrong with the buy because with a break-even like that, you're going to make money. That being said, I'm happy enough with my CT dub. At the very least, I've got players that are all making cash there. A lot of us will bring in Blaze Talangi this week with his negative 55 break-even at basement price. I just think the other side to it is that with Olam, he is a new club. He might be used differently. He could get more attacking opportunities.
He does look healthier. So he said, noted last year he was carrying something and did struggle to be explosive, which probably makes sense as to why he couldn't make the first grade side. If he's fit and healthy, just purely from a numbers point of view, if you plug it in, if he say gets 35 this week, which is so likely, it's going to happen more often than not, he'll make you 65k or so, which is it's decent, it's good.
Good going, yeah.
But the week after, his break-even's back up to like 28, 30. So that could be it. In saying that, if he goes 80 again, thank you very much. So I don't mind the punt. I just said it's low risk. You can see how he looks.
Good games to come, Dolphins, Dragons.
Yeah, just be aware in 2 weeks you might be selling again. But I don't mind that early in the season. I've done that a couple of times now. Don't make a habit of it, but I think if you want to take a little...
And I think, look, if you're battling with cash generation a bit, you missed out on a few good cheapies or a few of these guys, I need to make cash. Olam's going to make cash. As you said, if he does score well in these 2 weeks, it could be 200k plus. So by no means is it a bad buy. Just from my personal side, Justin Olam has been an average at best Supercoach player for a long time. 2 games isn't going to change my mind on that, particularly playing at the Tigers. Hopefully they continue the form, but we'll see. Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, number 4th most traded in, 692k, dual CT dub fullback, the shining light of the Cooma Stallions, -1 break even. Look, I'm assuming we both think he's still a decent buy.
Well, yes, but... Oh, my computer's froze. Who's obviously decent matchup this week. Got the Tigers. Anything could happen there. Not quite sure of what the Tigers will produce 3 weeks in, but it's just not really working for me. Here, I'm back now.
What are you after, mate?
Just who he's playing. Then he plays Brisbane, Para. So, look, I'm not so convinced he's an amazing buy this week. I think it was last week, obviously a definite.
Like, he made 100k, didn't he? 91k.
Yeah, he's already made 91k. You could buy him now. Could be selling him next week as well.
My second question. Could he be a keeper?
He could be, yes.
Do you think he will be?
Oh, what a question. He did look good, busy. I'll answer it like this. I think he could be a keeper. But if he gets himself up to 800k, bye-bye. Bye-bye, for sure.
I feel similar. So neg 1 break even...
750k next week or 720 if he's a bit poorer. Still pretty happy to probably sell him around that 720, 750.
We wouldn't sell him next week because he's got a 112 in his rolling average, unless he comes in and goes 30 this week.
After next week, go easy.
After next week.
2 weeks to go, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's got Brisbane next week, so I'm not necessarily buying him for that. No, I'm not so convinced. I'd nearly look elsewhere.
As it stands... I think the beauty of it is, as it stands, I will be looking at cashing out in 2 weeks' time. Realistically, probably to Valentine Holmes. Although I think the Cowboys do have some tougher games coming up, so we'll need to reassess that. Potentially a downgrade to Greg Marju as he returns if the Knights are looking good. But what we can do is, if he goes well this week, regardless, he's going to have the 112 in his rolling average, so the break-even isn't going to be high. We can hold him for the Broncos-Suncorp game, see what he does against one of the best teams in the competition.
Then you'll know.
If he then scores well against them, you just go, all right, we could have a season-long keeper on our hands. But
it wouldn't shock me if he keeps killing it. I'll just be a little bit wary if you've got good trades lined up this week, do you get Hammer? Maybe.
Yeah, I guess
it's hard to consider because I already own him. But yeah. I'm sort of 50-50 on it. Not totally against it. I just don't think it's a massive slam dunk. Could be, but you might be using it for a week or two. He might not score that well 2 weeks in a row, and you might go, that was a waste of 2 trades. So maybe.
Spy, Tommy Flegler, 531k. Look, let's not spend a lot of time on him because we've spoken a lot about him in recent weeks, but 26, and just because front row forward is relevant still, but 26 break even.
Good buy. I reckon I can cut it short. He's a good buy.
He's had a try. Yeah. He's had a try and a try assist so far this season, averaging 51 minutes per game.
Offloading. Showed a bit of attack. Yeah, I like him.
I think it's especially if you're carrying
great draw.
If you're carrying one good front rower and you've got quite a weak second one, he's not out of price range yet. He'll do a job. Might not make $1 squillion, but he'll do a job for you. Last one on the buy list, number 10, Sean Johnson, 662k. He's got a break even of 74, so it's not urgent, but people with Nico Hines at halfback and maybe a poor halfback and they don't really want to play them this week, whatever it might be. He's goal kicking again. He gets Charnze back. 662K. He's cheap for what we know he can do.
You don't have to talk me into SJ. You know that.
I know.
100%. Goal kicking back. Ran a bit last week. If the situation dictates that you need a halfback, get him in, baby.
Yeah.
Just quickly on Hammer, I'll just check because this is where my reservations came from. I'll back it with some numbers. If he goes 45 and 45, he might only. It looks like he'll only make $28,000.
Yeah.
And you get 245s. What if he goes worse than that? So if you want to buy him if you think he's going to continue to score 70 plus, not for money. Yeah.
Because he can score. He will have a 20 on him on any given week. Like, it could happen.
Yeah.
SJ, Bunnies, that's not scary at the moment. Manly,
it's good. It's
Manly,
good.
Who knows what Manly are? They're week to week at the moment. Dragons, Titans. Oh, it's a good draw.
It's so good.
SJ 662K, dropped a lot.
If Cleary was out,
He's dropped 130K this season, and he's also not been goal kicking. So,
if Cleary was out another month, I would love to slot him in. But as someone who I held Nico, you did as well. Also, I think people are going to want Nico back soon. Maybe you buy SJ while you see how Nico goes. He's got to buy this week. You see how he plays out for the next couple of weeks, and maybe in 3 weeks you can then go SJ back to Nico. But Cleary's coming back. That's the only thing. It's just that halfback logjam.
yeah, it's like
But if you're going, which halfback do I get this week? SJ, 100%.
if it's this week, yeah,
love it.
I still think Cleary after the bye, Cleary Hines combination is going to be where you want it.
Yep.
Taylor May, big talking point this week. 448K, break even of 76. Panthers have the bye next week. He's got a 3-round average of 37. Most sold player. What do you think?
I've been tempted to sell all week, but I just think people could regret this if they do it. I'm happy to cop a little price loss of like 50K again, just to see, because first 2 weeks he scored really well without doing a whole lot. He was close to scoring numerous times, like blade of grass stuff. World Cup Challenge, he was awesome.
Both Parramatta and the Broncos games, there was a backline injury. They didn't have a backline player on the bench or a utility to cover it. I think the Eels, it might have been Kelma Tuilagi who went out there. And
we mentioned last week.
And I said Tungo they went to Tungo all game.
Taylor May could have just sat down, tied his shoes that game. He didn't have to do anything.
And then it was, I believe, the same against the Broncos because
Walsh got hurt,
injured.
Cobo to the back, Kura, back rower went out and same
They
thing.
did the
Sit
same
down,
thing.
tie your shoes. We don't need you, mate.
27 against the Roosters. All right, it was an off night, but there were genuine excuses for the other 2 weeks.
Yeah, and Chooks are a good side. It's not like, so let's see who's he got coming up. Manly by Tigers, Cowboys, South, Bulldogs. Like, it's pretty good.
Their draw to start the season was Melbourne, Para, Broncos, Roosters. Like, it gets easier. I just think a bloke like Taylor May, who
Plays
busts tackles, he'll have a decent work rate, great power and base, in the best team in the competition.
Got an
I
offload
don't
to
see
tackle
him
back.
as a headache at all. Like, I'm not worried about him.
The only reason I was tempted to sell him, I'll tell you why now, is because you could go down to Blaze Talangi and make like 250K and just go boom, which allows you to do some really good stuff with like a Smithies tour for feeder. So that line of thinking, I'm like, maybe you do it if you got no one else to sell. But I'm with you. Points are coming. Even if he drops to 380, he's going to score a 90 or 100, which will bump him back up to 500 when you need him. So I'm strong hold for me, but I can just understand that luring temptation.
Yeah.
Do it if you've got a good reason to help your side out elsewhere. If you're just doing it for the sake of it because you think he's not going well, then don't do it.
If you see T-Dub's awesome and he's your only ticket to Blaze Talangi,
sure.
okay.
Yeah. That's
Like,
probably the only way I'd do it. Yeah.
Ben Jabojevic, third most traded out player, 310K, break even of 37, played 50 minutes last week, 61 the week before. Penrith this week, Warriors the week after. What do you reckon?
Just minutes.
Pain in the arse, isn't it?
36 last week in 50 minutes. Just work rate. Round 1, he killed it. Also, at that price, I really want to hold just to see
Dual
what
position,
happens.
310K. The break even's 37, so it's not like he's going to drop 30K.
It's the same answer as before. If he's your only ticket to Blaze, go for gold.
Yeah.
Don't mind it, but I'm just going to sit him on my bench, not play him, and just hope he can find. If they can get his minutes back up, we don't quite know what the plan there is.
Still no Josh Schuster to be seen, so that's why he's not getting decent minutes still.
We know he's got it in him, but yeah, just those minutes are a concern.
I'm happily holding. The dual position really helps.
Yeah.
But, geez, he's tough to play at the moment.
You'll find he's super handy if you hold on to him or a salmon.
Yeah.
Just have one of those in there because you'll go to trade a second row and you'll go, I can suddenly get a centre. I want Valentine Holmes or vice versa. So, frustrating though.
Number 10, Joey. Actually, let's do Zach Hosking quickly. Number 6 most traded, 613K, 98 break even. I haven't seen any official word on how long Elliott Whitehead's out for, but Hosking could come back from his head knock as an 80-minute edge back rower. Do you think he's a sell?
I don't. I think I'd want to see then next week when he's back, see if Elliott's playing.
We should get word on what Elliott Whitehead's go is. We'll find that out. Find that out. We'll drop it in the.
My thing there is it's easy to look at the break even of 98 and go, he might lose 40k. What if he scores 98 next week? He's done it twice already.
He's been killing it. He's just like.
So no, I wouldn't sell him. Is the answer.
Again, there might be people going Ben Trebojevic to 2RF and getting in Talangi for him. Sweet, that's okay. But Talangi at bottom dollar with that break even is an exception to most of these voids.
Imagine also if you dropped Hosking for Talangi. Hosking scores 100 next week and Talangi doesn't play. Like, that could happen. So, I think if you've got Hosking, just give him at least another week, see how he looks. He looked so good last week again.
Number 10, Joey Lussick, 417K. He made a grand total of 104K, break even of 58, back-to-back 30s. Brendan Hands back on the bench. Told you so, Spite.
Made 100. He's made it. He's done. Nowhere else to go. Past tense.
Back to 60 minutes. Bench hooker on. Needs attack.
No bench hooker this week. He only come in because Cartwright was laid out. So they were looking at it.
His hand's not on the bench this week.
No. We're back, baby. We're back. I'll check New South Wales Cup as well to see if his name
He might get 32 this week. Danny Levi was the answer all along.
Maybe. He can't keep scoring, although the way he's going.
Danny Levi, don't doubt him.
Are you on him for top try scorer?
Really?
$1 million to
Would have
one.
been paying about $2.50.
Yeah, so serious thoughts on Lussick. Probably 40k short of what I really hoped for, but 110k or so is handy. Also in a position now to do something with him. Maybe go to like a cheese over Origin without having to do much. So that was sort of the plan all along to bridge him.
Cheese.
Jesus, lighten up. He's getting better. Trust me there. Hopefully 80 minutes this week, and we'll see what he does.
No need to, I don't see the need. Who would people be trading him to this week? So break him 58. He's not going to plummet in cash. If he gets 30, he drops a little bit. But
Brayley's starting up at Newcastle. See his minutes. Could be a little downgrade coming shortly.
Yeah, give him a week, because if he comes out and plays 80, Jag's an attacking stat. Right, game back on.
He's got attack in him. Tigers, their attack inside the 20 was poor on Sunday. Tigers made him look silly. Something could happen this week. Just let's see how it goes.
Spy trades and skippers for round 5. Preface this by saying, in particular, skippers. Heavy rainfalls predicted for Sydney and Newcastle and surrounding regions on Friday. For the few days leading in, I believe, but potentially very heavy falls on Friday, something like 40 to 80 millimetres. Hit us. What are you thinking? And you got some loose shit here. I know what you're going to say.
Well, to answer my captain question, I've got to tell you my trades, but let's do it in reverse. My captain this week is going to be one S Drinkwater.
Oh.
Against the Titans, Sunday Arvo, not 80 mil. I'm very tempted on Kalen still, regardless, but they're literally predicting potentially 2-3 inches Friday, which is 90 odd
if
mil.
If it's dry in Townsville on Sunday, like lock and load drinky.
So pretty excited about that. Trade-wise, I've got 2 options. One I've already thrown out because I've done it the other day, but I'll talk you through what I was talking to a few people about today. I was having a look at KP is coming back, definitely. It was always the plan. He just lost about 80k less than I hoped he would, but live and learn.
Can't
whatever.
All spy,
can't get them all. If I then went Jamin Salmon to Blaze to Lungy, it would actually allow me to go Lussick to Appy Coruscant by $3,000. But I'm very reluctant to spend 1.2 million on the hooking position when I've already got Robson just doing a job there. The reason for that is, if I do option 2, which I'll talk you through, I'm going to have a fair bit of coin to play with to upgrade Smithies to Eli Katoa or Smithies to a Fafita, that sort of stuff. I'm going to need that money pretty soon. I don't want to tie it up top in my side. I just don't want to do it. Never been a big fan of it. Appy's obviously awesome, but I think it's more of a case of choose Appy or choose Robson. That's kind of where I stand. I just want one good hooker. So option 2 is, and this is where I'm not leaning, this is almost certainly what I'm doing, is KP and Drinkwater in, Tommy Turbo and Latrell out. Just double trade. I've talked fullback roulette.
The old fullback rotation policy.
I'm going to commit to it one more time before I scrap it. No, hopefully it'll come off this time.
Jeez, it's back. It's been it's worked wonders for you in the past. It's backfired this time.
Yeah, well, I've only done it once, so let's see. Small sample.
Fullback rotation.
Oh no, this year. Sorry.
This year.
KP was the backfire because Trell didn't do what I thought he'd do. He's looked solid, but he didn't have a try assist or a try in 2 weeks, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
Also got binned. You may not have heard me talk about that in recent weeks. In terms of Tommy, goes into Penrith in the pouring rain most likely. Then the Warriors, who I just rate so much defensively this year. And what KP has, he turned up against the Warriors. He was too quick for him. They actually couldn't deal with his raw speed off the mark. Tommy's not that. He's more a power-based guy. I just don't know where the space comes in the next 2 weeks for Tommy. He could plummet in cash. My concern around Turbo is his run after that is pretty good.
Titans, Eels, Raiders, Dolphins.
Might fullback roulette back to him. Maybe. But Manly were horrible. I know they're going to be better than that. But we were talking off air as well. New combinations at Manly. They had Brad Parker last year running that hard line. They had Schuster at times, a ball player in there. With respect to Luke Brooks, I've said it before, he's not that ball playing, go to the line, create space type of fella. He's a ball running defender. That's his strengths.
Yeah.
Tommy's not seeing that space on the left edge anymore. It's gone. Yep. Benny Turbo impacts that as well. Slightly different player to back rowers of the past.
Maybe we do want Schuster back on the left edge.
It's great for Tommy. Yeah, 100%.
Bring Schuster back.
Schuster's combo with Tommy's brilliant.
Yeah, bring Schuster
and
back.
you can knock Schuster all you want, but his ability to do that stuff is unmatched.
Yeah,
he's so good at it.
Certainly any back row I've ever seen.
What it does allow him to do, if he had a good run over the next 2 weeks, I wouldn't contemplate selling Tommy. When you've got Penrith Warriors,
couldn't be a worse.
Very wet, and Drinky's got a dry match against the Titans. I think he looks really good. He's lifted his base. He's running a lot. He's offloading. I've said it earlier, I just want to back myself. That's what I think I'm doing. I think it's going to go off. I might captain him. Just want to do it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I don't like it. I understand it. And the reason being is, and look,
check Drinky's run before you say anything.
No, I know. I started with KP and Turbo, and I haven't even considered trading either of them. Like what Turbo's averaging 69 and being okay. He's been a whisker from being a lot more. Ponga I was never trading out even with the high break even. As the short-term play, I get it. Fullback rotation policy, I like. I don't like it this early in the season when you've got 2 gun fullbacks. I'm like, I have other shit in my team to sort out. And it's like, I don't want to be not wasting, but I know you're chasing points with the better matchups. But what do we keep saying, like early in the year? Defenses are better. Like, there's less points involved. I like it later in the year when teams are depleted and the fixtures and the head-to-head matchups become... all right, they're going to beat this team 40-10 sort of thing, and the fullback can go 150 plus. Just a lot harder at this stage.
Yeah. Have you watched the Titans lately?
The Cowboys' draw isn't that good. So they got Para next week at Combank.
Titans, Para, Sharks.
Eels at Combank in Para. Sharkies at Shark Park into Penrith.
Penrith obviously hard. Keep reading. Dolphins, Titans again, South,
we're getting
Tigers.
into 2025 by this point.
Yeah, but I think my point is I'm probably going to buy and hold for 8 or 9 weeks. I think I'm just going to back Drinky in. Something changed with Tommy and he looks back to his best. Sure, I'll pivot back. But you also mentioned some other fires. I honestly don't have any.
Fair enough.
Like if I'm not doing this, I'm not making trades. So I'm like, let's use it.
Yeah.
To back Drinky against the Titans.
When I say other, I'm thinking cash generation opportunities. My trades for the week. Tane Torpiki to Blaze Talangi. Brendan P. Kura to Kai Pierce Paul.
Love it. I did that last week.
I've locked those 2 in. Now here's the smoke one for you. Do I get aggressive?
Of course.
And use a second boost? As I said, I'm happy with my cash gen. I'm happy with my team. Jesse Arthurs to Joey Manu.
Hell yeah.
I've currently got, after those 2 trades, 450K in my bank. So that had cost me, another 200 odd K. So I've still got money to get, plans to get Cleary back in down the track or like a bit in the kitty. It'll be my second boost, which I'm okay with. Arthur's is annoying because I bought him full well knowing that he'd probably do his damage once the run got softer. We knew how hard the Broncos run is. They have Melbourne this week, and then it goes into the softer run. The Dolphins, the Raiders, the Tigers, and I think he can be a really good scorer and earn some great cash.
Walsh is back next week, isn't he? Time frame got cut.
It is next week, is it?
They said aiming for.
Okay, so that's the one where I'm like, that was I was going to say, I'm like, with the longer, when he was out for a longer period, Walsh, I've gone, well,
that's his ticket to everything, yeah.
Yeah. But at the same, I've made 45K in him. I think I played him in Vegas. I've played him for a couple of years.
You'd never be real confident playing him.
I think I played him for a 48 and a 57 and didn't play him the last 2 weeks. So it's like, he's been fine. And I genuinely believe...
How many tries has he scored by?
He has scored 3.
So he's averaging not much with scoring nearly every game.
3 tries. 3 tries, only 2 line breaks though. So,
you can see a world where he goes on a run for sure.
Yeah.
All pending Walsh.
Anyway, worth the boost to go Arthur to Joey Manu because he had 11 tackle breaks against the Panthers. He scored about 63 odd, and then he had that unbelievable try where he stood up. Might have been Taylor May.
Yeah.
And he got called back because of the most ridiculous obstruction I've ever seen. What do you reckon?
The only way my trade, let me put it like this, the only way my trades change this week, so I do my Wednesday night recap and I find a way for Joey. I think I went on socials last week, I just want Joey.
He's at like 6% ownership. He looked unreal.
He's got strong centres, so I don't know where I fit him, but that'll be the only reason I don't get Drinky, but I've said here before in second guest stuff, I think I can get Manu in 3 weeks without too much damage, hopefully.
The next month, Doggies, Knights, Storm. But the Storm game's in Sydney, Dragons.
Round 8, Anzac Day is probably when I target him, but yeah, Broncos. Not a great run for him, but that's probably the only thing.
Doggies and Dragons in that. Knights in Newcastle.
Brisbane Warriors, yeah.
Joey.
Couple of good ones.
I mean, if that trial's allowed, he just tons up against the Panthers.
Saints Anzac Day is a bit tougher, but yeah, man, as I said, there's a reason I didn't hesitate. I think he's killing it.
My captains, mate. Look, I really want to captain Kalen Ponga. If there's 40 to 80 mils of rain, that's going to turn into a dog fight. So I'll probably avoid it.
With no rain leading into it, though, it mightn't be as bad as you think. It's not like it's rain for.
I'm just going to reassess. I'll drop those the updated captaincy plans, and whether or not I'm going to boost in the SC Playbook WhatsApp group later in the week once I get around to that. Of course, the listener question and answer podcast, I record that over Thursday morning and drop it too. So there'll be trade plans and all that in there.
I do have a question for you before we continue.
Yep.
Vice captain, I'm not sure yet. We'll see, but I could boost and get.
You've used 2, hey?
Yeah, Benny, probably not Benny, probably Salmon to Blaze Talangi. Blaze could easily make 150K.
You're not getting Blaze Talangi. Sorry, that went over my head.
Yeah, so
I assumed you were.
So the question is, do I boost for Blaze?
Oh,
do we boost for Blaze? Because I was looking at it before the show. I probably will because, as you know, I'd rather do something now that I know is going to benefit me than maybe need a boost down the line.
Have you saved any trades yet?
I didn't trade week 1.
At all?
Not at all, no. So it'd be basically 9 trades total. But what it does do, the added benefit of this is currently I'd have 33K spare. If I do that, it would open up another 130, gives me 170K war chest next week.
Kind of, well, you start planning for Cleary back in as well at some stage.
Yeah, and what it does is that is cash gen done. I'm not going to be worrying too much about it if I lock in Blaze as well.
Yeah, I went over my head a bit. I sort of assumed you'd get into Talangi.
It's worried he could get the sack. Like, Dejan Assie's in there. He could shift back to centre, of course, but he's not a guarantee. If, say, Para get done again, questions will be asked. So,
yeah.
People, do I boost for Blaze?
Look, if he plays this week, he scores 35. He's projected to make 76.
A lot of money. What if he scores 70? He looks good.
I know.
Really like him. Galvin made him look silly, but he's going to do that to a few people.
Yes.
I think I will.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
3 boosts.
Talk to me.
Listener questions before we wrap up for today's show. Question from David. Ponga versus Pappenhausen as a buy this week. So we haven't actually spoken about Pappy. Avoided it because of the questions, but
I'm glad someone asked.
Yeah.
I have a very specific stat around Pappy.
Hit
Went
us.
back to 2022 when he was flying. It was the day he busted his kneecap. No good. Up into that game, which was pretty late in the season, or somewhat late, he was averaging 95 for the year, which is amazing. And that's Pappy at his best and Melbourne at his best. So I'm like, I don't know how you go much better than that for reference. Like, he was killing it. He's got 190 in there somewhere.
He was goal kicking.
Take out
supreme form. It was a very good Melbourne side.
It was. So take out the goal kicking that year. He averaged 83 to the injury game. I take that one out. It's like 20 minutes. Can he average much more than 83 based just on that? Difficult, though he looks awesome. They got a few troops back this week.
Broncos, Dogs, Roosters. So 2 of hard 3-1. 2 of 3 hard games.
Great. Next week, Dogs are actually defending okay as well. So I did look at it, and obviously that could be some bias because I just want Pappy in my side because I love him. But if he's going to average 83 at his best without kicking, maybe he averages like 75, 80 if he's still going really well. Maybe he averages 83. If he does, it'll make your coin. The beauty of Pappy is probably some pretty good points. Some pretty good coin the next 2 weeks. But much like Hammer, if he comes out and scores 30, that's going to dwindle pretty quick.
Munster back, Hughes back. Would you consider for 135k less with guaranteed money income with a neg 7 with potential keeper status? Would you consider Pappy over Drinky?
I did consider him today.
Yeah.
I'm just backing Drinky in. If anything changes, speaking of WhatsApp, we could have some chat this weekend.
Yeah, big
obviously with the Monday night game, we haven't really been able to prepare because lockout was today, so it's all a bit up in the air. But yeah, I'd definitely consider it. 2-3 tough games. He's playing some good footy, perhaps. His base is good. He offloads. He's going all right. That just worried me. I went back. I thought he might average more without the kicking at his peak there. So one to consider.
Yeah, to answer David's question, Ponga or Pap as a buy this week?
Oh, Ponga, definitely. I think Ponga showed enough last week that I saw Ponga. He's back.
Yeah.
I will note, second half, he still was tired because there was about 25... nearly 30 minutes where he barely touched it again.
He looks good.
But then
he doesn't look great.
But then he got more. I don't know how tight you saw the first half. Oh my goodness, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He looks good. The Knights don't look great.
Yeah. That left head started to hum again though. Like, it's against the Warriors. They cut him up a few times. I think combinations are building again there. I just think KP's about to go back on his run of last year and probably get above 1 million barring injury. So I'd get him in as priority.
Question from Dylan Taylor. Hey, mate, love your work. I have Nico and Cleary. Is it worth trading one since Cleary has said he'll be back in round 7 after the bye? First thing about that question, just a note to anyone when I throw the questions on out there, when I select them, flattery will get you a long way when I'm choosing which ones to go with. So, yeah, Nico and Cleary, their spy. Sharky's on the bye. Cleary out, so would need an AE. Would you sell one of those two this week?
Cleary's out for 2 more, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I wouldn't want to cop an AE and then know he's not playing for another 3 weeks.
Guaranteed 2 more weeks out.
Yes,
potentially. Like, he's meant to be back around 7. He probably will be, I'm sure, but potentially 3 weeks.
Hello,
Will SJ play in the meantime?
Yeah, why not? Get on him.
I don't mind it either.
Enjoy the show.
What to do with Labour? This is a question from Riley. So, Spy, after your blow-up, after he killed it in round 1, he said, why'd you talk me out of him, this, that, da. He's gone 26 and 23. 92 break even. He made a grand total of $12,000.
Yeah, he knows I didn't own him. He's deflated.
Would you sell him?
Week 1 he thought I owned.
Would you sell him?
Yeah, probably.
Not this week. Next week.
Well, break even 92. Oh, playing the Titans. Hell no. Yeah, just reassess this week.
Give him 1 week. If he goes poor, cop a price drop. But he's still a good footballer. So give him the Titans game.
Newcastle, Brisbane. Not easy games, those. Let's see how it goes this week. Reassess.
Question from Delhi, Matt Dellavedova. Is Brooks a sell? 88 break even, Manly looking poor, has Penrith and the Wars in New Zealand. Only way I can get Talangi in is if I sell Brooks because I have no CT dub I want to sell. Firstly, look, if he's your ticket to Talangi,
sell.
Yeah, I like that. Secondly, on Brooks, I'm an owner. Just the draw, like, I think he looks good. Manly could not have played worse if they tried on the weekend.
It was 9 tackles.
Yeah, it was.
What were they doing?
It was just a shit show, that game for Manly. Put a line through it, move on.
Yep.
anything other than Penrith and the Wires, I'm like, no way. I'm like, hold on to him. You know, like he's a ticket to Cleary when the time comes. That's my plan with him. I will be holding him. Could you see why people would sell?
Yeah, for Talangi, absolutely.
Oh, scrap the Talangi in general. Let's say Brooks to SJ. You got him at halfback.
I think I'd do it. Just that Penrith Warriors terrifies me.
I know.
Yeah, they're tough matchups. I truly think they're the best two sides in the comp defensively. Yeah. Obviously Penrith, but the Warriors are very good. Newcastle, to their credit, did very well to get in that match on the weekend. That's a lot to do with KP. Knights are about to fly as well.
I've got Brooks at halfback and Nico on the bye, so I'm holding him there. I could go to like an SJ, but I'm happy to hold Brooks. They're shit matchups. I do think he's looked good though. Not so
his
much
base is decent, so he's not going to kill you. Yeah. That's the beauty of Brooks, but yeah,
I'm sticking strong.
Yeah, each way bet there.
Spy, that's going to do us, mate. I'm running out of steam. It's been a big day on the mic.
Done well, I tell you.
Thanks.
Yeah,
appreciate it. You been good?
Yeah, what do you reckon? 9.5 out of 10.
8.
8.
Solid 8. Nothing wrong with an 8, mate.
Nothing wrong with that.
Guys, we'll wrap that up for the SC Playbook this week. Do us a favour, jump in, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you are watching us on there. Go and follow us, whatever you do. You like us on socials, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, SC Playbook, SC Playbook 1. It'll be under something like that. You won't miss it. Support us, do all that good stuff. Get yourself a case of bloke and a beer over the weekend. More importantly, have a great week yourself. Cheers.